अगर देखना है कुछ ऐसा तो आइए इको रिट्रीट उड़ीसा। उड़ीसा, इंडियाज बेस्ट केप्ट सीक्रेट। अगर देखना है कुछ ऐसा तो आइए इको रिट्रीट उड़ीसा। उड़ीसा, इंडियाज बेस्ट केप्ट सीक्रेट। अगर देखना है कुछ ऐसा तो आइए इको रिट्रीट उड़ीसा। उड़ीसा, इंडियाज बेस्ट केप्ट सीक्रेट।
Manish, we join Koreshi. Manish.
Good morning, everyone. Namaskar. Can you all please mute yourself? Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to Flow Bhubaneswar's virtual meeting on reviving tourism and the hospitality sector in the new normal. Flow is the women's wing of FICCI and is the largest women's chamber of commerce in South Asia with 8,000 members pan-India. Flow Bhubaneswar was launched as the 17th chapter in April this year during lockdown with 61 members who are primarily women entrepreneurs. Since our launch, we have embarked upon many initiatives to impact lives of women in various segments and sectors through skill development, knowledge and information sharing, mentoring, and financial linkages. I'm very glad that we have with us today Mr. Vishal Kumar Dev, Commissioner cum Secretary, Department of Tourism, Sports and Youth, Government of Orissa, who has done exemplary work in various departments in the government and under whose leadership Odisha tourism has witnessed transformational changes. We have our dear National President Flo Jahnavi Pukon, a visionary leader who is leading the 70 chapters pan-India in various national initiatives with a focus on sustainable livelihoods. Jacqueline Lundquist, sorry, someone needs to mute themselves. Jacqueline Lundquist, who wears multiple hats and is an author, interpol, and a business promoter. And she conducts regular trips to India with tourists from the US. And Dr. Seetal Kumar Palbabu, our very own Odia man, who is at the forefront of many international development and trade initiatives globally. We also have Flow Bangalore's chapter chair, Jyotika Kalra, to share her experiences in Karnataka. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. The Economic Survey report for 2019-20 suggested that Odisha needs to expedite its investment in tourism infrastructure to attract more tourists and boost revenue generation. The development of infrastructure for tourists has enormous potential for employment and income generation, foreign exchange earnings and value addition to the state. The focus can be expanded to areas like sports and film tourism, the survey stated. All the progress done in the last few years have suffered a setback with the pandemic. As a proud Odia, I have the distinct honor of highlighting the efforts of Orissa in rejuvenating tourism in the state. I must congratulate the state government for rolling out its immensely popular and dynamic string of campaigns under the Odisha by Road campaigns and the Eco Retreat. Besides facing the challenges related to the COVID outbreak, the tourism industry is often seen and experienced as an exclusive industry. The Odisha by Road is a resilient and bold response to these challenges of exclusivity, and it aims to seek out ways in which those who are typically marginalized by or excluded from tourism can be brought into the industry in ways that directly benefit them. Going by the estimates given by the World Tourism Council, we can all be optimistic about its contribution to the local GDP while generating jobs. The estimates suggest that the tourism sector is estimated to provide 330 million jobs globally while contributing to 10.3% of the global GDP. These are promising numbers for a sector that is expected to enable the world to achieve the commitments under the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which includes gender equality, women empowerment, and better leadership opportunities for women. During the lockdown, Flo conducted a survey to gauge the economic impact of the pandemic on women engaged in tourism, handlooms, MSMEs, and agriculture sector. According to our survey in Orissa, only 6.4% of the women surveyed were employed in tourism sector. The survey highlighted the fact that the women in the tourism sector in Orissa constitute a major percentage of the sector's missing numbers. This is due to the absence of women directly engaged in the tourism sector. The women in Indian tourism are either a replacement for the male members or they engage in shops of various kinds as workers. Their involvement in the hospitality business, guiding tourists, and managing projects is very low. Even with their limited involvement in these services, they're usually stuck at the low entry level jobs. The female workforce participation in various sectors of tourism show multiple problematic trends. In order to empower and engage women in tourism industry in Orissa, we need to address this double whammy situation of missing numbers and casual labor force. The inclusion of various itineraries like tribal hinterlands, beaches, ecotourism sites, and experiences like ethnic encounters, homestays, arts and handicrafts under the state government's campaign will create positive linkages for women in the form of skill development, employment generation, and improved economic prospect. This form of women empowerment would restore the local tradition and culture of Odisha while bringing into limelight the old and pristine handicrafts and the cuisine of the state. It's imperative for us to enable women in Orissa to introduce environmental conscious practices within livelihoods by stressing the importance of conservation and sustainable practices so that it can function as any kind of tourism supply and thus as a new income generator. As part of FLO's national initiative of village adoption program, we in Orissa have adopted 4 villages in partnership with Chilika Development Authority and Hamara Bachpan Trust in Krishna block of Puri district, Satpada. The emphasis is on a resilient and sustainable community-based tourism where we plan to build skills of youth and women in becoming tourist guides, operate Didi cafes, and others. I look forward to hearing from our esteemed panel their vision, plans, and experiences that can revive and rebuild the tourism and hospitality sector in Orissa, with, of course, active participation of women entrepreneurs and more women employed and engaged in the sector in this new world order. Thank you very much. Now, I would request our FLO National President, Janabi Pukon, to address us. A brief introduction of Janabi, please. Namrita.
Janabi Pukant, the National President of FLO, the women's wing of FICCI. Janabi is an entrepreneur, a co-founder of 2 national tourism award-winning companies, Jungle Travels India and Assam Bengal Navigation Company under the JTI Group. Her companies are involved in travel and hospitality, boutique river cruising, small group specialized tours, tea and textiles, all of which empower young people's livelihoods, especially women and their communities. Janabi's vision to impact lives and livelihoods of millions of women in India, and her leadership has led to multiple strategic initiatives by FLO's 17 chapters under the umbrella of One FLO. Now,
Janabi, over to you.
Thank you. Just a moment, please. Trying to get my papers, yes. Okay. So, namaskar. A warm welcome to Shri Vishal Dev, Commissioner and Secretary, Department of Tourism, Government of Orissa, Ms. Jacqueline Lindquist, Indophile, author, brand ambassador, Dr. Sital Kumar Palbabu, Chief Program Officer at the International Trade Center, Myanmar. On behalf of the 17 chapters of FICCI FLO that I represent as the National President, I'm delighted to welcome this formidable line of speakers we have today. Thank you, Dharitri, for inviting me today. You represent the youngest FLO chapter we have. And under your leadership as chapter chairperson, you have done exemplary work towards fulfilling the mandate of FLO. FLO has always worked for women's empowerment for decades. With the motto, it's been the power to empower. this year as the 37th president and the first president from India's Northeast. The ethos of sustainability is what I brought to the table, and it's part of the mandate of FLOW. I think coming from where I do, I had to make it my mission to work towards sustainable practices and sustainable livelihoods for women's economic upliftment. And what better model can we think about than the tourism sector? This is that sustainable livelihood model which has always been there, but the woman's role in it has been largely unrecognized, unacknowledged, and undermonetized. Tourism can provide women with opportunities for workforce participation, leadership, entrepreneurship, and empowerment more than any other sector. And it works at all three levels. If you're looking at rural, to the urban, to the formal workforce, there's tourism in every line. And why tourism? Because it has less emphasis on formal education, on training. It has more emphasis on the personal and hospitality skills, and it gives more flexible work-life balance and greater options for micro-entrepreneurship with far less capital. So coming in this year, we first started with a mandate with the government of India, and we signed an MOU with the Ministry of Tourism under the presence of our Union Minister, Prahlad Singh Patel. And the government has really taken cognizance of the force women can play and are ready to recognize this. We know we have several plans in hand for what we're going to do in the sector. We know COVID has put a stamp, a stop to a lot of the work we planned, but we are taking this up in a phased manner. And this is the time when we want that the informal sector of the tourism industry be stand up and acknowledged. You know, in 2019, we find the tourism industry alone accounted for 9.2% of our country's GDP. And India ranked third among 185 countries in terms of travel and tourism's total contribution to her GDP. What did this mean? It was 4.2 crore jobs in the formal sector in tourism last year. We don't have any figures for the millions in the informal sector of this industry. They've eked out their living in the ripple effects of tourism. There are no figures of how badly they were impacted. What the World Travel Tourism Council last year, in its report on travel and tourism driving women's success, that spoke about how increasing the female employment participation can reduce poverty, can sustain economic growth, and of course, support women's independence. The overall share of Indian women in the travel and tourism employment is in fact greater than the overall economy in 11 of the 19 G20 countries. This is stated in 2019. So coming to this year, when COVID has changed the world as we knew it, we know sustainability has to be at the heart of the new normal. And especially when we're looking at the tourism and hospitality sector, which I'm delighted to be part of today, we know we not only have to revive it, but we have to rewire it. Let me speak about my experience as an entrepreneur in last three decades in this line from Assam in Northeast. We've always worked in ecotourism. We've always been sustainable practitioners of tourism. We didn't know the buzzwords then. These are the new mantra which has now come about, and it's a good thing too, that people are more conscious and more respectful of the environment, of the people, of the communities, that tourism alone, to speak of my experience in my own companies, when we started our company called Jungle Travels India, it was simply to bring in tourists to see jungles of Assam and the Northeast. We knew tourism for us was never just a business model. It had to empower communities along with us. We had to take the people with us. I don't think any business is worthwhile if you're not supporting and contributing to the entire ecosystem. And this industry, in our fragile ecosystem of the Northeast, with the seven sisters and one brother, as we call it, these beautiful states. They cannot do with the with the version of tourism, which just meant five-star hotels, concrete buildings, and a larger, fancier sort of infrastructure to be built. For our take on tourism was high-end tourism and low impact on the ground. Because we needed tourists to come in who would appreciate and understand where we come from and where we live in sustainable life, in sustainable harmony with nature. We cannot offer you the palaces of Rajasthan or the imposing buildings of the architecture of other states of our huge countries that was like a subcontinent. But yes, we offer you nature. We are close to nature. We live off the ground, off the land and its peoples. And everything is in harmony. And we would like that to happen. I think COVID-19 taught us that this is the way we always lived. And this is the way we hope our new practitioners who've come into the tourism trade also follow this. Because that is the only way forward. Otherwise, with over-tourism, that would also be end of the ecosystem. So how did we manage in these troubled times? When we know with COVID, let me tell you our experience. We were the pioneers of long-distance river cruising since 2003. The only tourists we ever had were the overseas market. We opened up the market. We put India on the international cruising map of the world. And we're very proud of that. But we were India's best kept secret because we didn't work with the domestic market. Now, this year, for the first time in over 16 years, we are concentrating on how can we bring in the domestic market. We've had to change our entire perspective, our itineraries, our routings from our 7 nights cruises. We've moved to 2 nights and even 1 night without compromising on our value proposition. We've modified and redesigned experiences to accommodate the social distancing and hygiene issues. Now, with these limited numbers, our cruises were always limited numbers. We did not carry more than 24 people on our first 2 ships. On the second 2, we can now sleep 40 people. But we wanted to be closer. And since it's been the very core of what we do in our business, we will be able to manage and tide the way. And in the meantime, through COVID times, the idea was to keep the morale of our company high, keep our employees going, even though we did not retrench, but we had to subsidize and cut down on their pay structures, but we kept the communities together because finally it is a responsibility for all the companies like ours and in the tourism trade to work on your own team. This is the time when we realize that another key component of your business is the human resources. So when we started the company, we worked with the local people. We raised people from the ground, from our villages, from our small towns, who today are confidently working in this ecosystem and being able to derive their livelihood and be able to learn along the way. So when COVID came upon us, we fell back on our favorite saying that when the fishermen cannot go out to sea, they repair their nets. So we concentrated on our people. We trained them, we enthused them, and we relearned how the others were working in the market. So with our limited numbers as it is, we remain that private experience, the exclusive experience. We know that the travel or tour operators need to amend rigid booking rules, cancellation policies if they wish to appeal to the last minute tourists who will come in now. We've also seen that technology is playing a great part, which we were not very dependent on the social media because we had our assured market from the large wholesale, large cruise companies who would promote us year on year. And we booked on their brochures 2 years ahead. All that had changed. And now we had to look at how do we get onto the social media? How do we tell our old fellow countrymen and women to come and visit this part of the Northeast. For our Indians who are the largest travelers overseas, who are now no longer being able to travel abroad, are now looking at their own backyard and appreciating what they have. This is also the time when our Prime Minister had so, I think, prophetically spoken about Dekho Apna Desh this year, that travel within your own country, galvanize your own economy, learn, appreciate your own culture. Because tourism is that industry which can sustain everyone along the way on all levels. When we're looking at the rural tourism, what Haritvi has spoken about, our vision this year to also adopt a village in each of our chapters. And some of our chapters have done even more than that we work on microcosms of women in each of our region, geographic region that Flow represents. And in that, when we did the village adoption, there was also the potential for the village tourism, for rural tourism, and training a woman along the way. So everyone, all the women in this value chain had an opportunity. And that is why when this year, the United Nations has in fact named World Tourism Day as the theme being tourism and rural development, it could not have been more appropriate, because the 2020 edition is what the World Tourism Organization put forward. And our villages, going back to our nature, helping our women to revive their arts and crafts, use the local cuisine, enjoy the local festivities, empower them to learn about, give them the SOPs to be able to confidently handle the rural homestays. There's opportunity everywhere. In agriculture, handloom, handicrafts, everything is so meshed together with tourism in our country, because we can only speak for our own experiences. And though we don't need Western models or other models to learn from, we have to learn from within our own model, I think, and come up with our own unique way of thinking. So that at Flow, we also signed an MOU with the National Skills Development Corporation, NSDC. We're trying to get their training to help women be trained in handling food safety, sanitation issues, to have the new SOPs in place in COVID times, so people would confidently attend to their homestays, use their roadside cafes, use their local amenities. So women are empowered from the ground up. It has to be from the grassroots level up. So everywhere, when I want to congratulate Orissa government for its very well put together video on the eco retreats. And Orissa is really coming up fast in this tourism sector. And I congratulate you for that. The Assam, North, and Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, they're beautiful, amazing country, states within our eastern region. We're all learning from each other. And let us take the best for both. And like we've all emphasized, it has to be ecotourism for our part of the country. Ecotourism, sustainable tourism is the only way forward for us here. And with those, there are so many things to talk about, but I would like to also say that what the UN, the United Nations World Tourism Organization has spoken about, the One Planet Sustainable Tourism Program. This is a new vision for global tourism, and it could not have come at a more appropriate time, and a more appropriate time for the planet and the people, that we grow better and stronger, and we have to balance the needs of people, of planet, and prosperity. And tourism, no other industries than tourism can make this happen. So sustainability must no longer be part of a niche part of tourism, but has to be the new norm for every part of the sector of tourism, and which will contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, which is set in 2030, and which we at Flow have been very, that's been one of our benchmarks. We don't know how much we can achieve. We just had a year, within this year, with COVID time, we've really forged ahead. And I want to thank our youngest chapter, Flow Bhubaneswar, and all the chapters of my organization, that together we've worked and we're trying to make it happen. And together we want to see that women get their place in the sun. and in this very important, vital, basic industry that we call the travel and tourism today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jahnavi. Thank you very much for your insights and your experiences. Now, I would request our chief guest, Commissioner Secretary Tourism, Sports and Youth, Mr. Vishal Kumar Dev, to give his address. Before that, a short introduction.
Shri Vishal Kumar Dev, Commissioner cum Secretary, Tourism, Youth and Sports, Government of Orissa. Shri Vishal Kumar Dev hails from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. He graduated in 1990 with a degree in Computer Science and Engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, Varanasi, and obtained an MBA from the Indian Institute of Management in Lucknow in 1992. He worked for more than 3 years with prestigious organizations in the corporate sector before joining the Indian Administrative Service in 1996. He has worked mostly in the urban development industries and IT sectors. Shridev is credited with contributing to making Bhubaneswar a major destination for IT industry and also to industrial development in Orissa. He is credited with a number of path-breaking initiatives and reforms during his various postings. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. That was a very generous introduction, I must say. And let me first of all say a very good morning to all the fellow panelists who have joined and all the participants. It's a pleasure to be a part of this webinar. FICCI has actually been the leader as far as talking about revival of tourism and hospitality sector within the country is concerned. I've been part of several webinars earlier, which were on more or less a similar subject. And it delighted my heart knowing when Dharitri was talking about Odisha this morning. We're finally talking about the eastern region and tourism and hospitality promotion and development there. A region which I believe has been rather invisible on the national landscape and is usually not much talked about. So coming from Odisha, one has been asked so many times, what's your state capital? Where exactly is Odisha? So thank you, Dharitri, for taking Odisha up and, on a larger level, the entire eastern region. I heard Ms. Fukan talk about Assam and all. So I think one of the first webinars which FICCI organized, and I was a part of it, they had come out with a very nice phrase with regard to revival of the tourism sector, which said survive, revive, and thrive. It kind of summed up the entire universe of tourism in a very structured manner. Survive, revive, and then you thrive. And when you talk about the revival of the tourism sector, the last 6 months while the nation was in lockdown, I think have been rather busy for us in the tourism department. We've been very busy thrashing out new policies, new plans, redefining our strategies, some of which I'll touch upon during my presentation. Dharitri had specifically asked me to give a presentation on Odisha, which I'll do a little later. I think a couple of things which all of us have come to understand now are, one, that our adherence to safety and health protocols would be the key in taking tourism forward. And our ability to inspire and generate confidence among the travelers that traveling is safe is going to be the key. And to that extent, we in Odisha have taken several initiatives, which I'll talk about. The second realization has been that at least for the next 2 years, the focus is going to be on domestic tourism and not really on international tourism because of the pandemic and the way things are going. Of course, we are at the verge of, I believe US has just about started its vaccination program, but there are lots of ifs and buts about that. And it's not going to be easy for vaccines to be available in India, and also what kind of vaccines that we'll get. The one that Pfizer has is it requires a cold chain of -70 degrees, which is not so easy to maintain in India. So that is, the next 2 years are still going to be a challenge as far as attracting international tourists are concerned. But as I said, the focus will be on promoting domestic tourism for all of us. And I do have a presentation on that. I can see Dr. Ranu Pujari has also joined. He taught us economics. Sir, namaskar. He taught us economics while we were under training at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. And sir, I must remind you once again that I was the second topper of your course after Iqbal Dhaliwal, who was our batch topper and also, an MA in economics from the Delhi School of Economics. So that is something which I keep reminding you again and again. But so we have worked out certain plans, which I'll share with you. But before that, it's an opportunity to talk about Odisha, a state which, as I mentioned earlier, is not really heard about much. And there is so much that has happened over the last 20 years. Odisha is a state which was always known as, a poor and a backward state. But I must tell you that the last 20 years have been truly transformative. And I don't think any other state has undergone so much of positive and developmental transformation as Odisha has. So let me very briefly touch upon that, and then we'll carry on with the presentation. So it was in the late 90s. Odisha is a very rich state as far as its mineral wealth is concerned. So more than 90% of the nickel and chrome ore in the country, about 55% of bauxite, 30% of iron ore, 25% of coal. So mineral wealth-wise, we are a very rich state. But that hadn't really made any difference to the fortunes of the state till about late 90s, when we adopted a policy of value addition, which basically meant that if anyone wanted our mineral wealth, they had to set up their plants here in the state of Odisha. And it was this policy which kind of led to the who's who of the steel, the power, the aluminium sector, wanting to set up their plants in the state. And from then on, it's been a great story of development. For the last 15 years, we've been consistently among the top 3 investment destinations in the country. And very recently, last year, we in fact toppled Maharashtra and were recognized as the #1 state in terms of investment attraction. So for a state which was never there in the industrial firmament of the country, coming to be the #1 state actually means a lot. Again, since 2009 onwards, we've been growing at a rate which is consistently higher than the national average growth rate. We are a power surplus state. We supply power to the southern and eastern grids. And today, 20% of India's steel and 54% of India's aluminium is produced by Odisha. No mean feat. And as far as poverty reduction is concerned, we are again the leader in the state. We also are the only state which has doubled its farmers' incomes. We are the leading state when it comes to rural housing, rural roads, forestry, fisheries, agriculture, etc. So the purpose of talking about this is to show that good governance has been a very high priority in the state of Odisha. And it is not just about investments and industrial development, but it's also about human development, about sustainability. And therefore, our Honorable Chief Minister has also won several awards as the best administrator and the best Chief Minister, Economic Times, India Today, and several other groups. So governance has been a priority for us. I was talking to you about the importance of adhering to the COVID protocols. So we've taken a lead in that, and we have engaged with the entire hospitality and tourism fraternity within Odisha by conducting sensitization and training workshops for them. So employees of hotels, restaurants, cab drivers, taxi drivers, we've conducted training and sensitization programs for all of them. And on the 23rd of this month, we will be doing a similar program for tour operators of the state. Ms. Fukan was talking about women in tourism. And I must tell you that our eco-tourism program, the eco-tour nature camps, which are 47 in number, are managed by the community, the local community, and 80% of the income generated from the projects goes to the local community. And again, about 80% of the community is women. So I think this has been a great example of involvement and empowerment of women through tourism. And we have also won UNWTO as well as FICCI award for our ecotourism program. Next. I mentioned to you about promotion of domestic tourism being a focus area for the next 2 years at least. So on the 27th of September, which is the World Tourism Day, our Honorable Chief Minister announced the opening of the state to tourism. And we have come out with a special campaign called Odisha by Road, wherein we are targeting people from within the state as well as from the neighboring cities of Visakhapatnam, Raipur, Durg, Bhilai, Bokaro, Jamshedpur, Ranchi, and Calcutta to undertake journeys by road, because people have apprehensions about traveling by train and air. So road travel is safe and can also be very gives a lot of enjoyment. And on that day, we had a super bike rally. In fact, it was quite an eye-opener for me also, because I didn't know that a place like Bhubaneswar would have more than 1,200 super bikes, BMWs, Harley Davidsons and all. And there are 12 superbike clubs which we have tied up with. And we've been having these groups visit our various ecotourism destinations. And there are people who belong to the state, who were born and brought up here, who are ODIAs, who expressed their surprise at the stunning beauty that they saw at places like Daringbadi, Satkosia, etc. They'd never been there. And they said that it's a great experience for us getting to know our own state through such beautiful places. Next. So I spoke about the justification of the Odisha by Road campaign. Another campaign that we've come out with is the Tourism Safety Assurance campaign. Again, basically to say that we take health and safety protocols for our visitors very, very seriously. And we've come out with a stamp, Tourist Safety Assured, for all our destinations. I am happy to inform you that we had conducted 11 roadshows in various cities last year, but because of the pandemic, we could not do it this year. However, we took the lead in organizing virtual roadshows with tour operators of different states, particularly our neighboring states. We've already done one with Andhra Pradesh, one with Chhattisgarh, and we have one planned on the 18th with Jharkhand, and another with West Bengal on the 23rd. Odisha again happens to be the the first state in the country to actually take up virtual roadshows. And our partner for this is again FICCI. So we've had outstanding results. We've had very large participation of tour operators and travel agents in these virtual roadshows. What we've done is, from each destination, we have worked out different itineraries for people who are traveling to various places. I'll just run through these very quickly. So Visakhapatnam to Chilika, and we've mapped out all the wayside amenities, the places that can be seen on these routes. So Visakhapatnam to Koraput via Devmali Hill. Devmali Hill is again a very beautiful place and very close to the famous Araku Valley. Daringbadi is called the Kashmir of Odisha, and a stunningly beautiful place. Bhitarkanika is one of our wildlife sanctuaries. It's famous for its mangroves and crocodile. It has one of the largest crocodile sanctuaries. It is one of the largest crocodile sanctuaries in the country. And it's also famous for a unique phenomena of nesting of eggs by olive ridley turtles, which travel thousands of kilometers to lay eggs on the beaches around this area. It's important to know that there are 3 places in the world which see this nesting of olive ridley turtles: Costa Rica, Mexico, and Odisha in India. Debrigad is a wildlife sanctuary which is very close to Hirakud Dam. So again, mapping out itineraries from all these cities around Odisha to various destinations, from Ranchi, Jamshedpur to Simlipal, carry on. Again to Kyunjhar. We are also very famous for our festivals. The most famous and popular is the Konark Dance Festival, which is held every year from the 1st to the 5th of December. We had major doubts because there were no permissions for organizing cultural festivals, but this is done in an open air auditorium with the Konark temple as a backdrop. So we decided to go ahead, and I think it is a study in, again, adherence to COVID protocols. We had our normal capacity of 2,100 coming down to about 500, but we ensured that there was complete compliance to the safety and health protocols for the pandemic. We held it very successfully, and it became the first cultural festival to be organized post the pandemic, post the locking down lifting in India. The Sand Art Festival is also organized alongside the Konark Dance Festival, and we have several other festivals which are in the pipeline. We have a Chilka National Bird Festival next month, along with Mukteshwar Dance Festival, which focuses on classical Odissi dance. Raja Rani Music Festival, again, sees some of the most renowned and some of the finest performers of music coming and performing in the backdrop of the Raja Rani temple. We have Vrindavan Mahotsav, which we organize jointly with the foundation of Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia, one of the most renowned flutists in the world. And we are now we have decided to organize Odia cuisine festivals across the country. Odia cuisine is another area which has been hitherto unknown, but it's famous because it derives from the temple cuisine of Lord Jagannath. And the philosophy there is more from less, so more taste from less oil. As far as its tourism offerings are concerned, Odisha offers a platter of experiences which perhaps no other state in the country can match. From spiritual and heritage tourism to wetland tourism to ecotourism and wildlife tourism, we have a very rich array of crafts and handicrafts. Again, 23% of our population is tribal, spread across 62 diverse tribal groups. And therefore, ethnic tourism becomes a very important part of our tourism offerings. I would also like to mention about Chilka Lake. Just go to the previous slide. Chilka Lake actually happens to be the largest brackish water lake in India, and it houses, again, the largest wintering ground for migratory birds at Nalaban. And the Chilka Bird Festival is a tribute to that. So one of the strategies for, again, promoting tourism was organizing glamorous camping festivals at some of our most beautiful sites. Last year, we had organized it at Konark. It was a huge success and saw an occupancy of about 81% plus, which is a record for tented cities. So this time we decided to expand it to cover 4 more locations. Apart from Konark, which is Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary, Hirakud Dam, Daringbadi, which is a hill station, and Satkosia Gorge on Mahanadi River, which again, I'm sure many of you would have been to Scotland, but if you visit this place, you would actually feel that you're in Scotland. It's so stunningly beautiful. We started this festival from the 9th of December. It will continue till 28th of February. And I think the video on that has already been shown. So Konark, Daringbadi, Bhitarkanika, Hirakud, these are some of the pictures of we have different categories of tents and a large number of activities at all these places, including water sports, adventure sports, stargazing, cultural evenings, etc. I mentioned about promoting Odia cuisine. So we've decided that when we start the physical roadshows, we shall also be organizing an Odia cuisine festival at that place. In addition, we will also be covering all the 6 metros by way of organizing these festivals. We had invited Chef Thomas Zakaria the owner of Bombay Canteen, to Odisha. He spent about a week here and he was delighted with his experience of Odia cuisine. And he was so impressed that when he went back, every couple of months, he's been organizing an Odia cuisine festival at Bombay Canteen in Bombay. And it has seen a fantastic response. So we've been very encouraged by this development, and therefore the idea is to take it forward. From our own side, we are starting a chain of authentic Odia cuisine restaurants under the brand name of Nimantran. We're starting off with Bhubaneswar, Puri, and Sambalpur. We are also starting 3 mobile trucks primarily in Bhubaneswar. The idea being to showcase Odia cuisine. And of course, I spoke to you about doing similar exercise in metro cities and at airports, etc., etc. Carry on. Yeah. I've already mentioned that the safety and health protocols, which have been sent by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare as well as the Ministry of Tourism, we have taken them very seriously. We've built upon them. And this is something which we're very, very particular about. A message has to go loud and clear to the world that Odisha is safe to visit. And therefore, we're putting in a lot of effort in sending out this message, as well as in ensuring that there is complete compliance at all our tourist destinations, hotels, restaurants, and all the places which are frequented by tourists with these protocols. Okay. In addition to these, we are also working on several other initiatives. Some of them include water recreation, camping, caravan tourism, heritage hospitality. While we do not have, magnificent and large palaces like Rajasthan has, we have our own set of much smaller, very cozy palaces, which belong to the erstwhile kings within the princely states of Odisha. 9 of these properties have already been converted into heritage hotels, and another 10 or 11 are likely to be converted over the next 2 years. And I mentioned that we've been rather busy during the lockdown period working on various policies, plans, and redefining our strategy. So the first is that we're coming out with 3 new policies. One is on excuse me, promoting homestays within the state at some specific locations where we do not have quality accommodation. The second is on replacement of our wooden boats to modern boats. And the third is on promotion of heritage properties. Currently, the tourism policy offers 20% capital investment subsidy up to a ceiling of 15 crores. And there's a provision of an additional 5% for projects which are owned and managed by women entrepreneurs. My apologies. So this is an area, Dharitri, which I think we and FICCI can work on together, encouraging more and more women entrepreneurs to get into tourism and hospitality, because there is a provision of an extra 5% subsidy for projects initiated by women entrepreneurs. We also have an interest subsidy at the rate of 5% per annum with a ceiling of about 1 crore for a total of 5 years. So these were some of the interventions that we have taken. We have also been discussing with the government of India that there is an opportunity for various states to work together. And we have therefore promoted MOUs with Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal. We already have one with Gujarat, wherein we are saying that let's say we will promote Chhattisgarh within Odisha, and Odisha can be promoted by Chhattisgarh government. So a mutually beneficial and win-win relationship is what we're looking forward to. Alongside promotion, development of infrastructure is extremely important. And out of the 360 places that we have, which have been identified as tourist destinations, we have identified 46 priority destinations. We are going to create amenities and facilities for matching international level tourist destinations. The overall objective of ours is that we increase the number of footfalls to the state of Odisha and also increase the average duration of stay for tourists and visitors to the state. And integrated planning and development of our tourist destinations along with regional long duration circuits. Let's say a tourist is visiting Assam. He could also make the duration longer by including West Bengal, Odisha, or other nearby states within his itinerary and his plan. So that is something which we're working on. And houseboats are another key areas which we are looking at. We had recently done an expression of interest for initiating river cruises within the state, and we got an excellent response. There are 17 agencies which have responded and expressed a desire to start river cruises within the state of Odisha. Introduction of houseboats is another area that we're looking at. We will be introducing houseboats in the next 3 to 4 months in the water bodies of Chilka, Hirakud, and the backwaters of Bhitarkanika. So this is this sums up all that we have planned and all that we are doing. And Ms. Fukan has a company which runs cruises. We've been in discussions with your team, ma'am, yes, along with Mr. Ashish Fukan.
Yes.
And we are looking forward to inviting you all to also look at Odisha while for your river cruises. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. This was really nice, and a lot of people have been messaging that this is the first time they're hearing about and seeing Orissa. So I'm so glad, you made the invisible part of our state visible. Thank you very much. Now I would request Jacqueline. It's almost midnight for her. She's in Colorado. Jacqueline, over to you. A brief introduction of Jacqueline, please.
Jacqueline is a graduate of the University of Virginia, where she earned a degree in rhetoric and communications and foreign languages, and of the Alliance Française in Paris. Her career has included a variety of fields, including hotel sales, marketing, and advertising for Hilton and Hyatt Hotels, co-owner of a Washington, D.C.-based public relations firm, entertainment reporter for CBS Television, and for 7 years, working with the musical group, the Beach Boys. She has worked on the national community service issues for President George Bush Sr. and President Bill Clinton. Jacqueline's husband, Richard Celeste, worked as the ambassador to India under President Clinton from 1997 to 2001. As the First Lady of US and India, Jacqueline worked on a variety of issues, including HIV/AIDS, women and children causes, the environment, breast cancer awareness, and the promotion of fashion and arts. Jacqueline is also the co-author of 3 books. Jacqueline's love of India spawned a variety of business enterprises. Her jewelry company, Sari, sold at the US Saks Fifth Avenue, Lord & Taylor, and a variety of boutiques across the country. Her fashion company, Karma, promotes Indian fashion designers in the US. In 2002, Jacqueline was awarded the Special Award for Contribution to Promotion of Indian Fashion globally at the Z Gold Bollywood Awards in New York City. For 10 years, Jacqueline served as the Chief Serendipity Officer at Water Health International, which works in over 1,000 sites in India and Africa, bringing clean, safe drinking water to millions of people, providing jobs and opportunities to women, and eradicating plastic in hotels, corporate offices, and in communities. Thank you. Over to you, Jacqueline.
Oh, good Lord, that was way too long. Anyway, namaste, namaskar, salam, happy belated Diwali, happy Hanukkah, and Merry Christmas, and most importantly, a very happy and healthy New Year to all of us. We're all looking forward to that, I know. First of all, thank you so much for including me, Gayatri. co-worker of mine at Water Health, even though we didn't overlap. I appreciate your service to bringing clean, safe drinking water to the world. And let me just say, I love Orissa. We visited twice. The first time was right after the unfortunate cyclone that hit in 1999. And we toured the countryside, which was at the time devastated, but luckily we were able to come back. We are big lovers of the state. We are big lovers of the chief minister and his entire extended family, who we are dear friends with. So I'm absolutely pleased and delighted to be here. So let me just tell you this. I am an accidental tourist guide. And what I mean by that is this. So in 1997, we moved to India, where Dick was ambassador. He had lived in India in the 60s. He was the assistant to the ambassador, a man named Chester Bowles, who some of you that are old enough to remember him might know. And so while we lived in India, we had 280 house guests come and stay with us over the 4 years that we lived there. And Dick and I traveled to every single state in India. So we traveled about every 10 days. And when people came to visit us in India, they just didn't come for like a week or two. They came for 3 weeks. It was quite a commitment to be there. So we took all of them with us on whatever trip we had scheduled, whether it was to Manipur or whether it was to Jodhpur or whether it was to Hyderabad, they came along. And because they were traveling with, obviously the ambassador, traveling with the ambassador is a great fun, but more importantly, I think having the historical perspective that Dick could bring to the travels, having been in India in the 60s and then again in the 90s. So they all thought they had the quintessential experience. And, you know, people, when we got back from India, my husband became a college president here in Colorado. And I remember the board of trustees and members of the faculty said to us, "Oh my God, it's such a shame we didn't like visit you in India, know you when you lived in India. We would have loved to experience India through your eyes." And we said, right, wait, we can do that. So that's when we started becoming accidental tourist guides, as I said. So I partnered with a woman who I'd worked with in India named Ganeev Rajkocha, who's on the call with us today. She and her husband Yusuf Zahir actually were the pioneers in bringing whitewater rafting to India and had a beautiful company called Himalayan River Rafters, and subsequently has started a company called Next Stop India. And she and I have now planned trips for people to India, over 800 people in the course of the last 20 years, ages 4 to 89. And we've gone to at least 20 states in India during that time. Janabi, we were in India in October of last year, and we went up to the Glenburn Tea Estate, and we walked across the bridge and we dipped a toe in Assam and then quickly ran back because we didn't have our papers to stay much longer. But what I found was traveling through India with, you know, we do kids trips, we do ladies only trips, we do trips, you know, that are just couples, etc. So we've really mixed it up. But what I found the most important thing that we did in all of the time that we went to India is this, you know, everybody falls in love with India because we explain everything to them. People don't like what they don't understand. And so we take the time to explain to them, why is the cow there? Why is this happening? Describe what's the difference between that turban and this turban, etc. And so they all took away a profound love for India. And I have to tell you, some people have been back on six trips with us, right? The world is a really big place. And for these people to commit 2 to 3 weeks of their life, and you know, we're staying in the finest hotels in the world, as well as in tented camps in Bhuj and on river boats in, you know, down in South India. But it's an investment. It's an investment in time, and it's an investment of their money. And the fact that they keep coming back speaks to the fact that A, they love India, B, obviously we put together a hell of a trip, and C, there's just so much to see in India. So every trip we do is slightly different, just to bring back those repeat customers. But the one thing that made a real difference was when I started working at Water Health. People loved India and they left saying, what can we do? How can we help? We're good friends with the Bissell family, so we get them to support the Fab India school that's down in Bali and in Rajasthan. But when I started working with Water Health, the difference maker for us was every single person on the trip would donate $1,000 to $10,000, depending on their ability, to build a water health center in one of the communities, the villages that we visited. So not only were they experiencing 5-star luxury, but they had something that they left behind. Their name was on a plaque. We inaugurated the Water Health Center. The entire village would come out to witness it. They'd meet the woman operator that we most likely employed to run the Water Health Center. And it gave them just that extra bit of like love for India because they left something behind. And I found like every trip I do from now on will incorporate some sort of service aspect, even though we didn't like physically build it because we didn't have time, like a Habitat for Humanity project. But just the fact that we left something behind made such a difference, especially to the young people. The biggest trip we ever did was the first water health trip. And we had 64 people. Can you believe that? 64 people on our trip. And that was a trip that included people from the age of 4 to 89. It was basically 8 families of 8. And in each case, somebody in the family had come to India on one of our previous trips and had decided to either bring their grandchildren or their grandparents. And, you know, because water is such an important issue in India, you know, we were able to engage the Bollywood community. So we've had lots of Bollywood stars that have been part of this. And, you know, it was like walking the runway at the Oscars for these people in this tiny little village. So that really made an impact. The other thing I would say, I think these specialized trips are really fun. We've done one ladies only trip and we're just planning the next one, which will be in March of 2022. There's something magical about just, I guess we were 16 or 18 women traveling together through India. And, you know, everybody had a roommate and nobody had to worry about their kids or their husband. And you could just truly engage on so many levels. Like somebody cried every night because they were just so profoundly moved by this experience of traveling with a bunch of women. A lot of them cried the night we took the overnight train from Bangalore to Hampi, but that's a different story altogether. Anyway, Genevieve and I have often talked about the possibility of doing trips that are like, you know, moms and sons or fathers and daughters, or just really being specific about how you market a place, because it's an easy place to have adventure. It's a safe place to have adventure, but there's just something for everybody in India. So, you know, I'm going to keep coming back. Just 3 days ago, I released the latest details for our next trip to India, which is in October. I thought with the vaccine coming out, it'd be safe for us to travel. So we're going to do a 21-day trip with 8 couples. We're going to go back to Glenburn Tea Estate because, you know, it's just so magical up there. And then just 4 months later, we'll have 20 women on a 21-day trip to India. But I can promise you that if you invite me, I will so gladly come to Orissa and you can show me what's new there and we can incorporate an Orissa trip into our future planning.
Okay. Definitely, we should. We would love to have you in Orissa.
We'll be delighted to. I think I'll ask Dharitri to send us your contact details and we'll be in touch with regard to your trip. We would actually love to take you around because so much has happened, so much, you know, new places, the existing places. We've done a lot of infrastructure development, all of which we would like to show you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm also a big fan of Jay and Jaggi Pandey, who have also invited us to come out there. So yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. We keep trying to introduce new things into our travels. And so I have been ignoring you and I'm very sorry, but I shall not in the future.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And we look forward to having you and your group of friends in Orissa very soon. Now I would request Dr. Sital Kumar Palbabu to share his experience in Myanmar about the community tourism. A brief introduction of Sital, please.
Dr. Sital Kumar Palbabu is currently the country head of trade and investment of a UN agency in Myanmar. He is a well-known development and trade expert from India and has worked with international organizations globally. He was part of the initiation team of community-based tourism in Myanmar. The model has been replicated in many parts of Myanmar, and the government of Myanmar has taken very positive action to take it forward. He has a degree in law and a PhD from Utkal University, India, and has attended a prestigious human rights course in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for so kind words and generous introductions. Sorry, I have a little bit throat problems, so I may get a little slow. I would like to thank you, FLO, Daritri Patnaik, and ma'am Janavi, and I'm glad to see Sri Vishal Dev, Commissioner Cum Secretary, and Jacqueline Madam too here. And I'm really privileged to be part of these panels. Thank you very much, ma'am. Actually, what President Janavi ma'am was telling, that we should have this local things. To be honest with you, what I would like to share today is I learned from India, Orissa. It's in fact from Daritri Patnaik. I replicated here and get big success. And that is again, I'm sharing back to Orissa people and my India people again. So therefore, I'm very glad. Actually. So see, we are talking about, one thing, that community-based tourism and ecotourism. They are not very much different, but different. I think Ma'am Jacqueline also can tell that actually. Now in Orissa, we are promoting ecotourism actually, but when in global level now trend is community-based tourism, how much profit going to the community? Exactly, Sri Vishal Dev, what he explained, that Orissa has very big infrastructure with women entrepreneurs or village level women leaders, and they are actually getting 80% profit. But we need to market it properly to international level, saying that because in international level still ecotourism is owned by the travel agents or the big agents. How when they hear actually the 80% profit is going to the communities, and they feel actually to come and contribute to the community development. That's the difference on the marketing. So we actually initiated in 2014 community-based planning process. Again, now when we are FLO is saying we adopt a village, that kind of things, the social mapping and all these things. One village, 3-4 villages, they came together and say, we want to do a also community-based tourism kind of thing, because there is a place called Bagan. Every year, more than 3 million people they visit. Whoever visit, they visit Bagan. So then they say only 1.5 hour, 1 hour travel from us. Why not we can bring them a little bit here? Then we help them to come out with the community-based tourism plans through this kind of planning. And then actually, before moving forward, first thing is the linkages. I would like to hear also all entrepreneurs that linkages is very important. I contacted myself one travel agency, very big global level travel agency called Interfit. You can see here sitting, these are the guy who is from Australia, and this is the local partners, and I bring them here. There is nothing here, no heart, no house, all around. It's a dry zone. It's a dry zone and very different.
Netflix, Amazon Prime,
can you mute please? So then they actually, it's a, again, I'm sharing here for during this COVID period, because this will give a very good time to prepare communities, because it takes 1 to 2 years the preparations. I'm talking about the bringing the different perspective or the tourist. So therefore, first things, one, the plans done, and then these people came and we little bit helped them to develop greenery, because it's a dry zone, no rain, 20-30 days in a year. And then small kind of dam, it's a water reservoir started, and we helped them to build what Janavi madam was telling, that again I'm quoting you very much, madam, because now it's a 5 stars and all these things. Yes, we cannot ignore 5 stars, because if we ignore them, they will very much angry. So we can say, yes, you share 2 nights. If they're coming here, we'll share with the community 1 night. The share partnership. So very friendly, but with a 5-star quality. These huts are not 5-star hotels, but quality become 5 stars. So that's more important actually. And you can see here that the way it's just ground floor in a very local styles and all these things. Then bringing tourists, how we bring the tourists. This local, this international partners, they made agreement with the community. We help them every week. They will bring 2 groups, 15 groups from like each groups from globally the foreign tourists, and they brought it actually. Then the maximum profits, everything managed by women and led by women. I would like to again repeat here that you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the women leaders from 5 villages. They are the people who led, managed, and now also managing the most successful community-based tourism program in Myanmar, and government replicated in 6 places because of that. So why? The key thing is you involve them in a various things, help them to plant, because the tourists from foreign country, they see, oh, I plant a tree in a dry zone. It's a big thing for me. I help the community. And also they pay for planting a tree. They pay $5 to plant a tree, around 300, 350 Indian. They pay because to buy the, we organize, help them to buy, and then they also pay for that, but they feel happy. Cycling, that activity was, Sri Vishal Dev was telling. The food is more important, again, local style food, but it has to be properly hygienic and maintained in a proper way, so that the people, the tourists do not feel sick. And then involving them in various learning and taking them to, enjoy the local community. You see, they put on their soldier and they feel happy. So, and these kind of things to integrate, and agro, if there is agro tourism and bringing them to paddy field, as Vishal Dev was also telling that, to bring them the river, quiz and all these things, nearby places, and show them the local culture, local communities and all these things. They feel like it. You see here, they are going and collecting, harvesting chilies, and then most important part is here, you see, integrating with your handicraft, Orissa, and then a lot of southeast part, northeast part, as Madam was telling, very rich on handicraft. So integrate that, how they can sell and and quality. First thing is train them to ensure the quality and integrate them with the tours and travels. They even, if it is $10, if you they directly buy from those waivers, they are happy to pay even $30. So involve them to learn with the community. I think last time when I was attending tourism, webinar, someone was saying near Pipili, in between Puri and Bhubaneswar, I think crores of money spent. So these kind of things, even night stay, 1 night stay we organize here. It was here actually military government was here. No, it was not allowed. Any foreigner or tourist cannot stay in village except the designated destination. But with my request, His Excellency just signed and allowed immediately for staying overnight there. So it was started in that way, then became a very, very big things and entertainment programs. I should again congratulate for Orissa Eco Retreat, and in India that initiative by government is really, really fantastic and taking it forward, moving all around the world. And then how we integrate the things here, if we say it should be integrated, it should not be, like standalone. Number one is integrated, and then alternative livelihood. So we help them to create a community university to learn from the people how they are doing, what is their culture, what is their plans, what is their development, and maximum money according to the village plan. They go for community decision. They need well, they need road, or they need bridge, because it's not like India, government allocate everything. And bringing the students to learn there and all these things, see the cultural things, because of this initiative, you can't believe, you can't imagine when government, because we did a very good work, I was leading everything, and government, when government started a negotiation with Myanmar government to go get visa on arrival for tourists, Indian tourists, they say they had a lot of problems. They say no, and government was really struggling because our president was supposed to come, and it was not there. But I requested His Excellency Union Minister of Hotel Tourism. He said, okay, let's meet, and we meet here. Within few hours, India got the visa on arrivals for tourists. It was approved in 2018 December. So once we help government is Sri Vishal Dev is here always. I know he is very energetic and very helpful and very progressive officers and commissioners. So I think it's a very good thing. You see one thing here again. Quickly, I'll finish in 2 minutes. Here, there is I was reading, actually there is a community-based tourism, you can see Satakosia forest area, but this was presented is some news saying ecotourism, some saying this, that. So how it is very important to market. It's not new in Orissa, but it's very important. Media should get proper orientation to highlight it and market it. So what are the things that we need to focus here? This is my last slide. Further opportunities in Orissa, because we are always discussing, let's focus 3 or 4 places and make sure that the domestic tourists or international tourists are coming. They go with the full 5-star, treatment, not the 5-star hotel, 5-star treatment, 5-star safety, 5-star quality, 5-star, not the expensive 5-star food. The way people will serve with the hospitality, those things I'm telling. And nearby, let's develop some community-based tourism, like Mongala Jodi is there, and Devkun in Moyurbhanj are there. So good to enhance and market them in properly, and bringing special agency, as I mentioned, interpret, make the partnership, because next 2 years, if we Sri Vishal Dev and the agency, they prepare for the partnership with a big agency, they will do their in their website, because they have the set of the customers to bring Orissa, and create linkages with CSR like Indian oils and all these things. They are helping, but bringing more is important, and also partnership with CSOs. And international collaborations, like I was saying, like Japan and all, Singapore and all these things, it's very important to do the more collaborations with them, like this kind of agencies and all. And adjust activities based on our culture is more important, I saw in the slides. Coordinate for charter flights with special relaxation, which means the policy relaxation for our airport. I have planned, because my wife has a tours and travel also. And thank you, Vishal Dev, here again to Vishal Dev, that when I contacted immediately, he connected to his officials, and now when I marketed here for Orissa, there are many people are in queue every month. We can run 2 to 3 charter flights from here for golden triangles, because they are very hardcore Buddhist. They go Buddha Gaya, now they are very much tired. They want to go Orissa. So we'll continue that. And other thing, the promote aggressive through embassy is very important. Different embassy, Orissa culture, Orissa cultural centers, and different things to promote. And homestay, what Vishal Dev was saying, it's very important now at this moment, because I always, people say, so you come, we'll give you 5 stars stay. So better to give 5-star treatment instead of 5-star stay in homestay, so that's very important. And continue eco retreat with quality. That's very good. Brands should continue that, and strong. Another thing is, Mr. Vishal Dev is here, strong tourism export strategy. I don't know whether Orissa or other states and region, maybe Kiki Floor can have partnership with different states. So very good to have the export strategy. I'm helping Myanmar government for various export strategy, including tourism export strategy and investment promotion. So I'm happy to support if government of Odisha or any government required. And the last point also that the branding, one thing from Odisha, again, the Boito Yatra, I was talking here, the tourism minister is very happy, like if we do Asian, kind of that our previous ancient period, that Boito kind of things, just to campaign like way you do the motor rally or cycle rally. So good to do those kind of things. Again, I'm here always to assist. And integrated community-based tourism, training, education, educational things, sharing, community universities, comprehensive development is very, very important and crucial. So why I presented these things to just to share what I learned from Odisha and implemented, and it is led by the women's. So it's good to share in FLO platform, and Odisha governments and FLO, they are doing fantastic job just to contribute. And thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you very much again, FLO.
Thanks, Seetal. That was an excellent presentation and a lot of cross learnings from Odisha to Myanmar and Myanmar to Odisha. Can you please stop sharing your screen? We've overshot the time, and I know there are many people who want to ask questions. Maybe we'll just take one or two questions if our panelists are fine with it. Can we take? So I'll call upon Pooja Modi, who's a FLO Bhubaneswar member, to ask her question. Pooja, over to you. Pooja, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Dharitri. Good afternoon to all the esteemed guests and fellow members. It's an absolute honor to be part of this wonderful event. I'm happy and excited to introduce myself as Pooja Modi from Cuttack. I, along with my husband, Mr. Mukesh Modi, have a travel management company known in the name of Sanskriti. We excel in handling corporate travel that includes airfare and hotel reservations. This year, we have partnered with the organizers of Eco Retreat Orissa and take immense pride in promoting the same. We personally have visited Eco Retreat Bhitar Kanika, and the experience has been phenomenal. I take this opportunity to congratulate Orissa Tourism for their efforts in these challenging times. We shall be highly honored if we can associate our organization with Orissa Tourism Development. Can you please suggest how to be a part of this?
Pooja, I understand you were saying that you want to be a part of the promotional exercise. You want to promote Odisha.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think you're already tied up with the organizers of eco retreats.
Yes, sir.
You see, the numbers of these eco retreats would definitely go up over the next few years. The idea was that all these places where the eco retreats are being held, they are beautiful destinations, but not much known.
Right,
so,
sir.
These are projects primarily to showcase and highlight these destinations, and also to create luxurious facilities for people to come and stay. So alongside that, we have various activities, jungle walks, treks, water sports, adventure sports, etc., that are planned. So we can take this discussion offline. I will put my team in touch with you, and we can surely take it forward. We are very excited about the opportunities and the potential that the state has. And I'm sure there's a lot that can be done together. I mean, all of us are stakeholders in the overall tourism ecosystem. We'll be very happy to work with you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
I would be delighted to work with you.
Yeah. So the next question is again from one of our members, Shikha Das. Shikha, are you there? Can you please unmute and speak?
Thank you, Dharitri. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to the very Honorable Mr. Dev. My question is actually directed to you, sir. I'm a hotelier based out of Orissa, and my question is about the hospitality industry. Considering how badly it has been hit, what is the government's plan for the revival of the hospitality industry? I have a second bit to the question too. A lot of hotels had participated in during the COVID time as quarantine centers, government-approved quarantine centers, and these employees had worked as frontline COVID workers. So, what is the government's view regarding, formalizing such hotel employees as frontline COVID workers? Thank you, sir.
Shirsha, let me answer your second question first. I think the issue with regard to what can be done for these employees who had worked at the hotels is something which perhaps we'll have to discuss with the health department to be able to give you a concrete answer. And on the first issue of what the government is doing for revival, I did share our plans and strategies, encouraging Odisha by Road campaign, increasing the visibility of the state through various road shows, So last year when we started road shows, and I mentioned that we did 11 of those, one of the stark learnings was that there's very little that people know about Odisha. In Bombay, for example, our event was attended by about 140 tour operators and travel agents from Bombay and around. And they said that all that they knew about Odisha was Puri, Jagannath Temple and Konark. Nothing else. And they said that, this presentation where you've spoken about ecotourism destinations, about arts and crafts of Odisha, about the cuisine, etc., has been an eye-opener. So I think that is the visibility aspect is something which we have to strengthen. We have to take it forward, leverage what we have, showcased it to the world through different mediums. Social media has become very important, and we have a very strong team working on that. Apart from that, we have also had discussions about some kind of a support package that we can bring for the tourism and hospitality industry, which has been badly hit because of the pandemic. We are working on that still. Discussions are underway because we were also hopeful that the government of India would come out with a package, which didn't happen. So from the state side, we are working on a package. As of now, I am not able to share the details with you. But in all probability, maybe in about a month or so, you all should get to hear some good news on that front. I hope it answers your question. Otherwise, we can take it offline.
Yes, yes. It's good to know that the government is considering a package. My question was more directed at the hospitality industry. Yes, your answer does kind of give, an answer.
So the tourism policy that we have, is also being strengthened. We are trying to look at what are the best practices across the country, and we are trying to incorporate all those aspects and the provisions in the new policy, which we'll be bringing out early next year. And There's a very strong component for women entrepreneurs there. So Dharitri should be excited about it. In any case, even today, we provide additional subsidy for women entrepreneurs. Please do make use of it.
Yes,
since you're an entrepreneur already. Right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. And the last question, and we will wind up. We've got Dr. Chandrasekhar Khuntia from Dubai here, and he wants to make an intervention.
Good afternoon, Dharitri. Thank you very much for inviting me. And good afternoon, Vishal Dev sir. I thank you again for giving me that opportunity to meet you in Odisha a couple of years back. Actually, we have been discussing a lot about our national tourism, local tourism. I would just request you if you could also think about international tourism and do some road shows in some international destinations like Dubai. Definitely, it will boost more tourism to India. And what I heard from Dr. Sheetal Kumar, it is really very impressive. And definitely, this community-based tourism will help Odisha a lot. And definitely, international tourists look forward to such kind of tourism. So we should develop that kind of tourism in Odisha, community-based tourism, because that will not only bring a big group of people to Odisha. At the same time, they'll be staying for a longer period of time exploring Odisha. So that will definitely benefit our industry, tourism industry. And I'm sure FICCI is aware about the, Expo 2020, which is going to happen in 2021. And they are the main organizers for the India Pavilion in Dubai, Expo. So I would request Vishal Dev sir, if we could have some road shows before Expo 2021 on Odisha tourism in Dubai, that will be really great, because we have, as you said, sir, in Bombay in Mumbai when you did this road show, people didn't know about Odisha, much about Odisha. So in that same case, international tourists also are not very much aware about Odisha. So if you can do more on road shows in international destinations, that will really help. And we need more of international tourists also, including our national tourists. And one more thing I would like to say, sir, I'm really glad that you're coming up with this kind of restaurants like Nimantran in Odisha, promoting Odia food. If you could do the same thing outside Odisha in major cities in India, including cities internationally like Dubai, then it will really, really help a lot, because we have to promote our food outside Odisha. Odisha already know about our food. If we could promote our food outside Odisha, then it will be better. And in Dubai, I promise you, we will give you all necessary support, all logistic support, all manpower support to have some kind of, food promotion, cultural promotion, tourism promotion. Whatever you can do, we are always there to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dharitri.
Thanks.
Dharitri, can I just share one thought real fast?
Yes.
You have some of the most beautiful beaches in India, in Orissa. And it's always surprising to Guinevere when we're planning these trips that I tell her we want to spend 2 days on the beach, in the water, in the sun, all day. and we were on one of our trips, we went down to Bhuj, and just south of Bhuj is a place called Manvi, where they build all the big boats, and there's some beautiful beaches there. And we stayed there for 2 days, in just very simple tents that were constructed right on the ocean. And it was magical. So don't forget that we crazy people like to sit in the sun and become nice and tan like you Indians as often as possible. So think about that European market that doesn't have the sunshine, especially in the winter months. The Germans, the Brits, the French, they all love a cheap, affordable place to go, right? And go is too busy now. So they love that adventure of the beaches. And I'd be happy to help you market that.
So Dr. Khundia gave many suggestions. Thank you for that. Couple of things just to put the things in perspective. So first is that as of 2018, we had about 15 million domestic tourists, and we had about 100,000 foreign tourists. So clearly, if you look at the figures, the domestic tourists are a priority, because the kind of effort that we put in attracting maybe 100 domestic tourists, we'll have to put in the same kind of effort in getting a foreign tourist. And with the pandemic, the next 2 years, the focus will be on domestic tourism in any case. On the issue of starting the Nimantran Odia cuisine restaurants, I have the Director Tourism and Managing Director of the Tourism Development Corporation, Mr. Sachin Jadhav, whose idea it was to start these Odia cuisine restaurants. So I'll give it to him to talk about that. My request to you and to all the non-resident Odias is that whenever you visit Odisha, alongside visiting your village, please also make it a point to visit at least 2 or 3 tourist destinations within the state. That will really contribute to our ecosystem and the tourism economy of the state growing in a big way. And Jacqueline mentioned about the beaches in Odisha. So I'm very pleased to tell you that one of the first Blue Flag certified beaches has come up in Puri. And we are working towards development of another set of 5 beaches, some of the most beautiful and pristine beaches in the country, to the standards of Blue Flag. And we'll also be applying for certification for the blue. So maybe by the time that you come, we would, you said you plan to come in October next year, right?
Yes, but I think what I'd love to do is in March, ahead of my women's trip, in March of 2022, spend like a week down there and see what you have to offer for our next trip. So yes.
Wonderful. And on the foreign tourist side, I would also like to inform that when we started Eco Retreat last year, we'd had a meeting with tour operators in Delhi who were very excited with the project. Typically, a luxury tented city sees an accommodation level of about 50%. We did about 81% plus. So that's again a huge success. And had it not been for the pandemic, we would definitely have marketed these Eco Retreat projects to the foreign audience as well. But we will definitely do it for the next year. Thank you. Sachin. Yeah.
I think with that, Sri Vishaldarji, I think good to have also like bringing means I'm working for the investors campaign here, like bringing some investors to Myanmar in investing, to Orissa to promote. For example, let's say we have a very good infrastructure between Puri to Konark, like for Disneyland and Disney Sea and all these things. I was in Japan recently. So those kind of things actually, now this is a good time for next 2 years during the COVID time to do in tourism sector, investors campaign for Orissa, and similarly FICCI can take lead for other part also. That would be a fantastic initiative.
There's a Make in Orissa that also the government of Orissa, that FICCI participates and
so that was to be held this year in November, but we couldn't be because of the pandemic, but it will of course be done next year around November, December. Sachin.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So just to elaborate about that Nimantran initiative and Odia cuisine, the idea evolved over discussion, several rounds of discussion with specialists in Odia cuisine, and a couple of webinars also held under the chairmanship of Secretary Sir and Master Chefs Odisha, as well as various Odia chefs situated across the world. They were invited for that webinar. And through discussions and churning, this idea was evolved. Odisha Tourism wants Odia entrepreneurs, so to say, to promote Odia cuisine restaurants. But to begin and to kickstart it, we thought it is appropriate that Odisha Tourism takes initiative in starting dedicated Odia cuisine restaurants. It's not that such restaurants are not available or not present in Odisha or elsewhere, but there is a stark absence of a clear-cut presence of these restaurants on the map of cuisine. Outside the state of Odisha, we rarely find Odia cuisine dishes, and very few Odia cuisine dishes are known to the public outside. Whereas Odisha is full of food. The Lord of Odisha, the Lord of this place, is a Lord of food, Lord of cuisine, Lord Jagannath. So temple cuisine itself is one category, seafood is another category, tribal food is another. So we go on listing, and in the process, we also learn a lot of things about cuisine per se. And we thought that it will be a good idea to start in the first phase at 3 locations. One on the Puri beach, which recently Sir has mentioned about that Blue Flag certification. So on that Blue Flag beach, we are opening one new restaurant. It will be a modular kind of temporary structure, a beautiful structure we are going to erect. And I believe by March 2021, it will be operational. Another will be at Bhubaneswar because it is a capital city. And another will be in the Western Odisha. We have a beautiful palace, old palace, renovated and restored by Intact, that Rani Bakri Palace in Sambalpur. That will be converted into a heritage restaurant, Nimantran. So at these 3 places in the first phase. And I just joined this webinar and I heard a suggestion that outside Odisha also we may think of it. So in the next phase, definitely we will think of places like Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai. So these metro places where we need to showcase Odisha per se.
Conte was also asking about opening a restaurant in Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. So,
sir, one minute, sir. we can sign MOUs with the government of UAE also, and we will, well, the Consulate General of Dubai can help us with this also. The government of India will definitely help us in this. We can sign MOUs, and for their investment back in Odisha also, if you're keen to come to Dubai and meet the government of Dubai, they will be definitely keen to invest in Odisha in tourism sector.
Okay, thank you. We'll take it forward.
So that's all for Nimantran, sir.
Thank you very much. And this kind of reminds me of a conference we had with women entrepreneurs of Vietnam. And we were asking them, why don't you visit India as much as you visit other countries? And one of the things they said that the food, while infrastructure, traveling, safety, all that's an issue, food is also an issue. So while we think of promoting our cuisines, we also have to keep in mind what kind of cuisines the the travelers would want, and maybe not make it too spicy and all that stuff. So something that we have to also bear in mind, that we provide a variety of and a lot of options to the tourists. And this has been a very, very interesting and enriching conversation. I did not imagine that this would run into more than 1.5 hours. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vishaldev, sir, for your time. Thanks, Jahnavi, for all your support, encouragement, and insights and guidance. Thanks, Jacqueline. And we look forward to having you and making, Orissa, the way how like I kind of got, I noticed Jacqueline because the way she was promoting India. And I was like, she's constantly talking about India, and her love for India is contagious. So I hope now your love for Orissa has to be contagious and you have to spread it all around. Thank you so much for being with us in the middle of the night. Thank you, Seetal, for being there always. And let's have more of this cross learnings and kind of try to incorporate them in our work in Orissa. Thank you all who've logged in from outside India, Orissa, other chapters. I saw past presidents of FLOW. Thank you very much for joining us, for your support. And thank you, FLOW members. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Jahnavi, you wanted to say something?
I just have one word. I wanted to thank your Secretary Tourism, Orissa, and we'll definitely be there at your invitation. And through Dharitri, I want to thank all of you for this very vital and interesting program that we've had, and invite all of you to visit Orissa and Eastern India. Thank you. Namaste.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Thank you,
Thank you, Dharitri. Thank you all.
Thank you.